Yes, this sort of thing. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, good morning.
Morning.
And well,
it's like the middle of the night.
it does, doesn't it? Yes.
For us, anyway.
Yes, we've been discussing jet lag and all sorts of things, and it's been great fun. And well, here we are in Sheffield once more. How long ago was the last time you were in England? Because I think I was probably there.
I think it was about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I was at a Comic-Con kind of thing in London. So yeah,
I think I was there because that was Elvira. And,
yeah, I was dressed as Elvira back then. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Well, now we're going back. I'm sure a lot of people know your background here, but we'll just delve into the past, as it were, and how it all began. So we talked about yesterday in Vegas, and I think it's such a pivotal time. Obviously, you've toured Europe, you've done all sorts of things. You've come here, I think.
Actually, I came to London. I tried to get a job at the Talk of the Town. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember that place, but as a showgirl, and couldn't get in. I ended up going to Paris to the Lido.
That's not shabby. That's not too shabby. And so with Vegas, what brought you to Vegas?
What brought me to Vegas? My car. No, I was actually saying yesterday, I don't know if you were here, I had this little fantasy, this dream thing going on when I was about 14. My favorite movie star was Anne Margaret from Bye Bye Birdie from the movie. This is so ancient history. Oh my God, these people are, what in the hell is she talking about?
I love Bye Bye.
Anyway, and then my favorite singer was Elvis. And I went to see them in the movie Viva Las Vegas. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that. It's so insane. And I had this fantasy, this dream that I became obsessed with, that I wanted to be Anne Margaret's character, not Anne Margaret, but her character in the movie. And I obsessed over it. I thought about it, I dreamed about it. And 3 years from then, when I was 17, I ended up going to Vegas, becoming a showgirl there at the Dunes Hotel, meeting Elvis, meeting Anne Margaret. It was my dream exactly came true. And my show was called Vive les Girls. Vive les Girls. So not that far off, right?
Wasn't there a naughty number in that show?
Oh, they were all naughty. All the numbers were naughty.
Vegas, I know.
Why? Which one did you hear about?
I was thinking the lesbian.
There was a lesbian number. How did you know that? And I was a singer in that, thanks to Elvis. I sang a song, "A Good Man Is Hard to Find," and we all know about that, right?
Oh yes. I think some people.
Hard man is good to
hard
find.
man is even harder to find. Yes, it's true. Not today, I don't think. That's why they're all sitting down. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, I think I'll have a drink.
I think there's some people that come into your life that change, that when you're at a crossroads and that change your life. Please tell them who that person was that slightly gave you the great advice and changed your life then.
That person did change my life. Like, just I was going along this way and took a hard left turn or something. That was Elvis, who I met in Vegas when I was 17, I was underage. And Elvis, actually, among some other things he told me that I was too young to be there in Vegas. It wasn't a good place for a young girl, and I should really think of another job, even though that was my dream job, and that's all I wanted to do. He said, you really need to think about doing something else. And he played the piano, and we sang together. And he said, you have a decent voice. Why don't you go out and get vocal lessons and, become a singer instead? And I wouldn't have done it if anybody but Elvis had told me to, come on, when he tells you to do something, you do it, right? So I went out next day, got vocal lessons, ended up singing in my show, Good Man Is Hard to Find, and then went on a career. I ended up coming to Europe, and stayed in England for a while, but couldn't work because of visa and all that. And then went to Paris, and then eventually ended up in Italy, where I went on the road with a band, an Italian kind of rock band.
And that's with Fellini that you did a movie with?
It is. I was walking down the street, and Federico Fellini was shooting the movie Roma, and there was a guy there from Vegas who had made a documentary about showgirls when I was there, Stuart Birnbaum, I'll never forget. And he said,
great name.
He was the director, the student director with Fellini on the movie, said, would you like to meet Mr. Fellini? I said, you know, would I? And when Fellini met me, he said, oh my God, you look like my wife, Giulietta Messina, when she was a young girl. So bizarre. And he said, would you like a part in the movie? I was like, oh, yeah. So, of course, then I got a part. It's not big. I'm in the movie about, I flashed by in a blink of the eye, but I worked for 30 days on the film, and it was money, and it was like, oh my God, you know, because I was kind of a struggling, starving artist by that time.
Yeah. Well, I love that story. I love the fact you travelled and you go and you've done all this amazing. This is before the big break happens, and I love the fact that that happened not when you were very young. I love the fact you travelled and you were worldly before you got to the point, which we'll jump to, which the audience will be more interested in than is the moving the car.
Well, I was going to say one thing. When I was really young, I actually came to Europe when I was, how old was I? About 15 or 16, with a school group studying art history. I was studying the guys in Europe. I really was. But my main point for coming here was the Beatles. I wanted to come to England. You know, the whole Merseybeat thing was happening, the Beatles. Oh my God. It was the biggest deal in my life, being able to come to England, just where the Beatles had come from, you know, and so that was really my main reason for studying art history.
I think that's the reason I studied.
So I had been here one time before, but just for a few weeks, and then from the time I was here, all I could think of was getting back to Europe again someday.
It's an amazing place, and I mean, I love America, but I love Europe and I love England even more. But so after all that journey, you end up back in LA and about to be married. Oh, about to have a special guest.
Oh, hi, how are you? We're old buddies.
Yeah. Hi.
We used to date.
Oh, did you? Oh my goodness. So did I.
One of my ex-boyfriends. Thank God he doesn't talk.
So by the time that moving the car comes along, you're just been married, and you're on your honeymoon when you hear about the audition.
That's right.
So, did you? At that point, you didn't know much about Horror House?
I didn't. I really didn't even know what Horror Host was, actually. Whoa, they're all over the place. What's happening?
We're under attack.
Just hope Freddie doesn't show up next. Yeah, so I didn't know much about Horror Host because I had not grown up in a place. I had grown up on a farm in Kansas, and we were way too poor to have Horror Host, you know, back then. So I did not know what a horror host was until it was explained to me in this job, you know, that I would be hosting bad horror movies. I loved horror, thank God, especially the old black and white type of horror that I had grown up with, you know, the Roger Corman films and the Hammer films, and that's what I kind of grew up on. So I loved that stuff. So when they told me there was a job that involved horror, I was like, yeah, you know, this is right up my alley. But I didn't get the whole concept of the horror host then.
No. And there was, I forgot the name of the gentleman that had just passed away that you were kind of replacing.
God, now I'm blanking. It's jet lag. And
yeah. I'm sure someone probably here could tell us. But
Sinister Seymour. Oh, my brain's taking a really long time to click in. Yeah, he had just passed away, and they were looking to replace him in the Los Angeles market in Hollywood.
So originally, that was going to be, in theory, the Vampire show. So they were going to do a revival of that show. She was originally involved, but then when she left the project, you had to change the name. So I love that story, is how you got the, but I think that was one of those fateful things that come along. If that had never happened, you would not have the brand, because you wouldn't have owned the character.
I would not own the brand. I would have owned it with, Vampira would have owned it, and I would have been working for her, and oh my God, that would have been
in a weird way, it all happened for the best reasons. Obviously not so much later with the court case, but
you know, I always say that, you know, when bad things happen, I mean, a lot of bad things happen, you know, to everybody in their life, and when bad things happen, it often ends up, you know, turning around your life and becoming something that would not have happened. I mean, you have to look at it a little bit in a good way. I sort of use the example of I was burned as a child when I was in Kansas. It was for Easter. My mom was boiling Easter eggs, and she was not in the room, and I climbed up on the stove and pulled a big kettle of boiling water on me. and 35% of my body is skin grafting now. I barely survived. I survived because penicillin, the type of penicillin that they use nowadays, had just come out. That's how old I am. And they used penicillin experimentally, and it saved my life, because in those days, if you were burned over 35% of your body, you really didn't survive. Kane Hodder and I talk about burns all the time. We're like, and anyway, luckily, all the burns were strategically placed that don't show. My dress is perfect. It shows all the good parts. And
it does show all the good
but the
parts.
burns, for when I was a little kid, kids called me monster, made fun of me, and my burn scars then were really pronounced on my neck and shoulders, so I just wore black all the time. I think I became the first goth because of my burns. I wore black turtlenecks, black everything, and was very quiet and kind of hid, and I think all that in the end kind of, I don't know, helped me to be who I am. It fed into it somehow. I don't think without that happening that I would be who I am now.
No.
So it was a very bad thing, but it really, shaped my life and turned it into something good.
Yeah, totally.
That was a long story.
That was a great. No, I'm glad you brought that, because I've always wanted to hear about how that happened. And when I first read about that, because you would never be, you're the least person I'd ever say would be a victim, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Because you're so strong.
Yeah, my character Elvira, definitely.
Yeah,
I try to learn things from her.
Obviously, yes, exactly. Yeah. So the name Elvira, where did that come from?
The name Elvira was the day we were shooting the show for the first time, Movie Macabre, my horror hosting show. We're in there ready to shoot. I'm going, this is the stupidest show I've ever, this is not going to work out. I really did. It was so cheesy, and you should have seen where I was shooting and everything. If you've seen Mistress of the Dark, in the beginning when I'm sitting on that pedestal with my couch and the weather map plops down.
That's my favorite visual gag in any movie of all time.
Well, there you go. It was
delicious.
real. It was absolutely real. That's how they shot it. I had from the news that started at noon to the news that started at 5. So the news got over about 1. I had from 1 to 5 to shoot my show, and if you didn't get a shot, it wouldn't happen. So they just stuck my TV show shooting in between those few hours. Anyway, for the first time that I went out to do it, they were calling it Vampira. I was supposed to be Vampira's daughter or something. And a lawyer came running in, the stage manager came running in and said a lawyer had called, you cannot use the name Vampira. So we were like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm going on in just 1 minute, So everybody on the crew, the lighting guy, the director, everyone that was in the room threw a name in a coffee can, a Folgers coffee can, and I put the name in Cassandra. I thought that was a brilliant name. I thought it did sound kind of spooky though, right?
It does, it sounds.
Thank God I didn't get that name. So I reached in the can and I pulled out the name. It was Elvira. I'm like, this is so stupid. It sounds like a country western star or something to me. I don't get it. They said, that's what you're being called. Get out there. And that was that. You're Elvira. End of story.
I wish you kept a piece of paper now.
I know. Yeah, I wish I had that too. Let me tell you how many times
because
I've thought that.
Obviously, I really want to get this. The coffee table book that came out last Halloween, 35 Years of Elvira, is incredible. Unfortunately, it's not available here yet. But
we're working on
soon.
having it.
It's on Elvira.com though, isn't it? It's on the web. But to order it from the States, it's a little bit expensive.
The shipping.
But I'm going to do it because it looks
ridiculous.
good.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could have hauled them with me, but really they weigh like 4.5 pounds each. I would have had luggage bigger than this table.
Yes, I've just come back from America myself, and I was in Vegas, and they don't really do sci-fi there, and I was going like, well, I need the book, I really want the book. And then the one little sort of gas station that sells a few comics that has it. Tell us about the costume design. How did that come about?
My best friend at the time, a guy named Robert Redding, he and I had been in a show together. Did you ever hear about this show called Mama's Boys?
The disco group?
Yes, it was like, disco was really big. Gay discos were like super happening then. So it was me and 7 gay men. I was Mama, and we went on the road doing comedy, singing, and dancing. And it was really a show that people loved. It was.
I want to see that show.
It was pretty fabulous. they were in drag and out of drag. And we had a fabulous time doing the show. But we did that for about 4 years, and Robert was one of my boys in the show. So Robert lived in LA, where I went back to, and he became one of my closest friends. He was already my closest friend. And he was very, very artistic. He was a wonderful artist. He's drawn posters of, oh my God, every movie star you can imagine for different plays and everything. He had quite a name as an artist. But he designed my costume. I'm going into all this long detail. Are you guys falling asleep yet? Okay. Anyway, Robert and I got together. They said you have to come up with a look when I got the job. They didn't know what I was going to look like. So they said, come up with a look. My idea was to go with kind of a Sharon Tate in the Fearless Vampire Killers, but as we all know, it's too late for Sharon Tate. So anyway, we didn't do it. But one of my favorite movies, Fearless Vampire Killers, which you said was called something else here.
Over here it's called Dance of the Vampires, which is much more of a romantic title. But they've gone back to the original title now because it's the print format. I think you can still, it's because I used to rent it in the 80s. I used to get Dance of the Vampires out on VHS. And then a few later, obviously, I'd rent Elvira, It's Just the Dark quite a lot. And know it off by heart, which I'm sure everybody in this room probably can know that movie very well. And then, but you weren't allowed to use that, but why?
But yeah, well, they when we took it in, and I had long red hair and kind of a white dead girl look going on with white lips and really dark eyes. But then this pale pink dress that we did, kind of tattered and ghost-like. The first thing the studio manager said, oh, no, you have to be all in black. It has to be all black hair. And we're going, typical, And we really wanted to stay away from looking like Vampira or Morticia or, anyone like that.
Yeah,
It's so kind of typical. So Robert did the same thing with the black, but he gave it kind of an 80s spin. And he gave the hair a very 60s spin from his favorite singing artist, Ronnie Spector of the Ronettes.
Yes.
And he calls the hairdo a knowledge bump. And if you think my hair is high, you should go online and Google pictures of Ronnie Spector. Her hair in the 60s was like the freaking, I don't know what it was like.
I don't know what that is, because that's her own hair, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was. It was her own hair. But awesome hairstyle and kind of an 80s look with the little studs and the leather and studs.
Little ode to you today.
Exactly. And because the punk thing was kind of going on then. So he tried to combine all those, and he drew a picture of them. If you ever see the book, you'll see in the beginning of the book there are all these sketches.
It's worth the price of the book alone to see the
drew.
original sketches. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
We ought to take some questions, I think, really.
Yeah,
so
probably
we have a
before it
glamorous
gets over.
assistant.
Oh, she
so
looks
hands.
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's really hot. And you look fabulous. How amazing do you look?
Yeah, you look beautiful.
It's so nice to meet you.
What's your name, darling?
Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Just a super quick question. How long does it take you to get into your Elvira hair, makeup, dress? How long does it take?
Robert used to help me when he was alive. He sadly died in the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. But it always took about between an hour and a half and 2 hours. He taught me how to do the makeup. I cannot do makeup. People sort of assume I'm really great at doing makeup. I suck at makeup.
I do it myself. Not a chance on anybody else.
Yeah, no. I've had other people do it. Even recently, there was this very famous makeup artist. They said, let him do your makeup for this print ad I was doing. And they said, oh, he's fantastic. But it was horrible. I mean, it looked good, but not like Elvira. And I had to end up washing it off and doing the whole thing again. But I always do my own makeup because I want it to look exactly the same, better or worse, I don't care. I want it to look like Elvira. So it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But Robert had developed the makeup from a character he was doing in Macbeth. You're not supposed to say that. Hecate, the witch.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing that part in a Shakespearean play. He was an actor, singer, dancer, artist, brilliant guy. And so he developed the makeup on himself, and he got that idea from a kabuki book of kabuki theater, and then did the makeup on me.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, and so ended up being that.
I
Yeah.
love that. Anybody else? Oh, the gentleman in front. You've got the microphone there, thank you. What's your name?
My name's Andy.
Hi, Andy.
You were a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race the other year. Who took longer to get ready, you or Rue?
What? What?
Oh, who took longer to get ready, you or RuPaul?
Oh, him, let me tell you. Oh my God, no.
Him and
Rue
Matthew
takes
are-
forever, but
Matthew
yes,
Anderson.
Matt, he had
Yeah.
Matthew.
He had Matthew, yes.
I don't know what happened there.
If anyone is, you can
Anyway.
private message me.
Yeah, but he was in
I'm
there for
fascinated with what
days. Yeah, I mean, it is easier to get ready when you're a woman, probably, than when you're a man trying to
don't
get.
know.
Oh, well, you wouldn't know about that.
happened. Takes me weeks.
But yeah, there were a few extra things he had to take care of.
And I think it takes it very easily as well, doesn't it? They watch movies. They'll watch. I think they have Mistress of the Dark on.
Probably
And
because
on loop.
yeah, just
And
on
Golden
a
Girls.
continuous loop that never ends.
It sounds heavy to me.
But he's great, and he's a very, very long time friend of mine, and adorable. But it did take him longer to get ready, I guess.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, can't see it. Oh, there's a gentleman over here. Sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to
Can't
see over there.
Sorry, right at the end of the row. You might have to.
You have to yell if you're over there.
Yes, you have to because of the.
Boys in England.
Yes. Hello. What's your name?
Neil,
Hi, Neil.
I've heard about that you're doing a new TV show on Hulu in America. Is that going to come out over here?
Oh, I wish. Do you guys even have Hulu over here?
No, we don't.
Oh.
I believe me, I've tried to hack that a few times just to watch your show.
You know, I wish we could sell it over here. That's actually a good idea. Maybe there is someone I can find a TV station that I could sell it to.
Yeah, maybe.
It was a blast doing that show.
So this
I just did it.
what is the concept of the show?
It's a horror hosting.
It's
It's
hosting.
movies. 13 movies that were kind of awesome. They weren't my usual movies I showed, but they were
Yeah, 'cause I
really
get to say,
fun
I think
and
we get to see do the same
crappy.
movies like Wild Woman and One Go and Bring the One Die and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's
So
sort of-
that movies with me hosting them, and a little more edgy than I usually get because it wasn't on regular TV, you know. So there weren't the all the you know
Censorships.
censorship in place. So we got to be a little funnier and edgier, I think. So I wish that's actually a good idea if I can get that away and try to sell it over here.
Because I think
Because you guys speak English, right?
Yeah.
So you'd understand, maybe. I don't know.
It would
Let's
be
see.
great. We would love to, obviously we'd love to see anything with new stuff with you in as well. Anybody else? Can we see the? Can we say? Oh, sorry, Doug. Hi, sorry, sweetheart. I can see you then. It's the cataracts. What's your name?
My name's Liana.
Hi, Neil.
Do you own Elvira's car? And can you tell me anything about Elvira's car?
I do. It was really funny about my car, the Macabre-mobile. I had always referred to it on my first TV show, always saying, well, I got to get out of here. I'm going to jump in the old Macabre-mobile and take off.
Oh, is that where it came from?
Yeah, I'd always just refer to jumping in the Macabre-mobile and getting out of there. Then I did the movie, and we decided to use the Macabre-mobile in the movie, and we suddenly realized, myself and the other writer, John Paragon, who had written my show with me, that we would have to come up with a car, you know, what would it look like? And they were suggesting a hearse and this and that. We thought, again, you know, typical. So, which, you know, I love hearses, but, you know, I wanted something a little different. So we were thinking what we could do, and I was walking down Melrose Avenue one day in Hollywood, and I saw this 59 black convertible T-Bird, and I was like, that's it, that is the car, that's what Elvira would drive. So I go and tell the crew of the movie, and they're like, you're out of your freaking mind, because that thing is $1 zillion, we cannot afford that in the movie. So I was really, really bummed out, and I kept begging for that car. And they finally found a hardtop, which they chainsawed the roof off. Hardtops were much, much cheaper. I mean, they found a really beat-up old piece of crap that did not work, it didn't run. The car in the movie doesn't run. They either push it or tow it. So whenever you see it in the movie, it's on a bed, it's being towed, it's being pulled. It didn't run. But it looked good,
Yeah,
right?
fantastic.
And
It's a great choice.
exactly like me. Didn't work, but it looked good. So anyway, they got the movie the car as a prop in the movie, and when the movie was over, they said, "Would you like to buy it? We're going to get rid of these things." And stupidly, I said, "No. Who wants to? I don't have a place to put an old car that doesn't work, you know." So I let it go. Which later I was kicking myself. I mean, but. Turns out this very famous photographer, Lynn Goldsmith, she's a huge rock photographer, had bought the car, fixed it up, had it all in running order, working order, And years later, maybe 10, 12 years later, she moved to New York City, didn't need a car anymore, and called me up and asked if I'd like to buy it. So we bought it for really cheap. It was beat to hell. She used it as her real car, and so
But she
it's
got it
convertible.
working.
It's a full-time convertible, so it sits out in the rain and whatever. There is no top for it, you know. So it was really a wreck. We bought it anyway. Had George Barris, who's a very famous car. You know, he did the Batmobile and the, oh my God, all the famous old cars,
Yes.
the Munster coach.
Yes,
and
yes.
He had done all those cars, so spent a fortune fixing the car up, and then I owned it. So there you go. And it's recently been on the show working. What's it called? Counting Cars.
Yes.
Working cars.
Working girl.
Yeah.
When
So they fixed it up, and now it's in the Hollywood Museum. I still own it, but it's on display in LA if you ever get over there in the Hollywood Museum.
and the
It
boot
looks awesome.
Yeah, they've redid the boot. Did they redo the engine as well? Did they
They fixed the engine up. It's got the original engine,
Right.
but they made it work. Yeah, which is nice
It
when you
is,
have a car.
And it's,
You can drive it.
amazing. Anybody else? Can't see any. Oh, there's a gentleman at the back. Hi.
I have to run up there. Over there. You might
there-
have to
there-
just yell. Over there.
It's been passed. Hi, what's your name?
Hello, I'm Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
I was just wondering if you were going to make any more movies at any other point, because the few I have seen with you in them, they're fantastic.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish,
I love Haunted
you know.
Hills as well as Mistress of the Dark. I do.
Thank
that's
you.
And that's your production company that did that.
Haunted Hills we did with our money. Don't ever do that, I'm telling y'all right now. Yeah, because when Mistress of the Dark came out, it had terrible, terrible box office numbers because it came out, and I always sound like sour grapes, but the day it came out, the distribution company went bankrupt, New World. And my movie was going to be released in something like, I don't remember, 32,000 theaters or whatever, ended up being released in 350 theaters. So even if you were Star Wars, you couldn't make a lot of box office if you were in 350 theaters. So unfortunately, in Hollywood, all they look at is how much did your last movie make in box office? Mine made none. You know, very, very little. And so I can go around. I have been shopping other movies for years and years and years, and no one wants to put the money up. So I finally did it myself. Nightmare. But did the movie, but people always say they like the first one better. And I say, of course you do. It cost, you know, almost $13 million to make. My second movie cost $1 million. So you don't have
And in the era
whatever.
before, when you did it, it was still probably being shot in film. You shot it in Transylvania?
We shot it in
Romania?
Transylvania.
Yes.
Yeah, in Romania,
And
in the
that's-
area that's Transylvania.
And I love the fact that all the extras at the beginning are just the local villagers.
They are the village people.
Village people.
Yeah, who listens to the village people anymore? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, somebody was saying, "Oh my God, you had such wonderful costumes, and the look of the people were so fabulous." Like, but that's just the people, and you know, they like wear long dresses and drive herds of geese in front of them. It was weird. So it did get some
Don't we all-
beautiful, value for our money,
Yes.
over there.
Well, I think you did a lot with $1 million. If that going there, I think it looked spectacular. The sets look incredible because they're
Thank
literal
you.
sets, aren't they? It's not,
They are sets that they built in Romania that would have cost us millions of dollars in LA, and over there in Romania, you know, made them for thousands.
Yes, exactly. And the quality, I think.
And the actors were pretty awesome too. We had a lot of really good comedy
Richard
actors.
O'Brien is amazing.
Richard-
I love the lady that plays Frau Brooker. That's sort
Mary Shearer.
that scream she does when she
Yeah.
first sees you is hilarious.
She was in Mad TV in the U.S. I don't know if you guys have heard of that show, but it's kind of like a Saturday Night Live. She's a fabulous comic actress.
I think we have time for just one more question. Does anybody?
One last question.
Oh, hi! There's a lady. Hi, there's coming from behind.
Oh,
Oh, there's a microphone just coming to you, darling. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi.
looked awesome.
Was Gonk your dog, or what happened to him?
Oh, Algonquin.
Oh yes, my dog in the movie Gonk. No, he was not my dog. He was a trained dog. There was a trained animal company working there with the Rottweilers and the rat and the dog.
Yeah.
And Gonk was the meanest little bastard. I mean, I love dogs. Love dogs. Love animals. And I'm so, I love them. And I try to go over pet that little bastard, and he would bite you every time you touched him. I mean, most of the pictures, I'm trying to just be cool. You know, if you see me with him, I'm like, he loved his trainer, this woman, and he hated everybody else. Hated you. He bit Kurt, the guy that was the real estate salesman.
Oh, yeah.
Bit him very badly on the ankle. He had to go to the hospital. He was just an awful little dog, but brilliant, really well trained, and obviously in the movie he came out great. But of course there were 3 Algonquins in the movie. There were 3 of him. There was one main, really well trained one blind one that had to be dropped into a trash can. That sounds so horrible, but let me tell you, I was there. I'm like the ASPCA. On my, you know, I was like, I wouldn't let them use any permanent dye, so that you had to be dyed every day freshly with vegetable dye. And when they dropped that poor little dog in the trash can, you know, I had a guy sitting in the trash can to catch him. You know, I had pillows and everything down there. So I was very, very careful about how the animals were used and how they were treated. They were treated much, much better than I was in the movie. Let me tell you that. But anyway, he of course has passed away. He'd be like 35 years old right now. You know, he'd be the oldest dog in history.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I loved him though. He came out great in the movie, and people of course love him.
Yes, I love that story. That's amazing. Well, I think that we're gonna have to wrap it
You know,
up.
you know, a funny thing. I got to say
Yes,
one
yes,
thing.
sure, please.
When you see all these scenes, we're doing like I'm in the living room with Bob and the kids, I think, and Gonk comes running out and hides the recipe book.
Yes, yeah.
And all the scenes that there were an animal in, there's the trainer on the side. We had to go in and do the voiceovers again later, you know, dub it, because when you see any scene in the movie, just imagine this when you're seeing it. The trainer's over there going, Gonk, sit, Gonk, lay down, Gonk. So you're trying to say your lines, and you're like, ugh, you know, this woman's shrieking.
And you've got to get it perfect, because the take
You
they're
have
going
to
use
say it
is
exactly
the,
right and be really cool while this woman is screaming.
Because the only
Stop!
take,
It's like,
because they're only going to use that take where the dog does it right.
that's right.
So you've got to be right
that's
every single
right.
time.
That's why they say don't work with dogs or kids.
Yeah, exactly. Was there anything you'd like to tell us about that coming up, that you'd like to share, any sort of projects and things like that, or any merchandising
Well,
stuff?
thank you for asking.
Yeah, so
I do. Well,
'cause
I
I
do
forgot
have
yesterday,
things
so.
coming up. I have a new pinball machine that just came out. I have a new slot machine that just came out, which is really a state-of-the-art, amazing slot machine. If you guys ever gamble around here, it should be coming to the UK sometime
As in,
soon.
because I played it in Vegas.
I just won $500 on it.
I won 7.
$7, awesome.
I'm not a gambler, so I was really excited that I'd won anything. So I was like,
See.
I won!
Well, if I would have known you before then, I would have let you make more money.
It's a
off you.
beautiful machine. Absolutely.
Thank you. It is fun, isn't it?
Stunning.
And a new pinball machine, which is pretty amazing because they don't really make pinball machines anymore so much.
There's a pinball museum
I
in
haven't loved
Vegas, I
pinball.
think. That they
Huh?
have there's a pinball museum in Vegas that has your machine.
Yeah, there
in
is.
it.
It's awesome.
So I
pinball.
love the fact there's a new one
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, me too. And then I'm working on an animated television show, which I'm still in the process. Just finished writing it, and with a couple friends of mine, and now we're doing a pilot for it.
Okay.
And animation, of course, takes forever.
Yes.
You know, you see an animated show on TV and you'll be sure there's like 3 years in the making at least. But we're working on that. And of course, I'm trying to finish my autobiography, which you guys just mostly heard all of it, so you don't have to buy it.
No.
And I mentioned Elvira.com in case
Yes.
you need to know anything about me. Just go on there and you'll probably find out way more than you ever wanted to.
And it has got some amazing merchandise, great line of t-shirts, and just beautiful stuff on there. So check that out, guys. And you're going to be signing next, aren't you? You're
I'm going to be
back-
signing. I'm
you're
going to be
sign.
taking photos first, and then
Oh,
I'm
you're
going to
getting
be back.
photographs first,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
And
And
then
then I'm
you'll
going
be
to be back at my table signing whatever you happen to have there.
Yes.
And I mean
Nothing too
anything.
rude,
You pay
yeah.
for it, I'll sign it.
You heard
You
it.
wouldn't believe some of the things I've signed.
I've seen quite a few things there. So what I would love to do is, if we could say it together as a sign off, could we do unpleasant dreams together? So after 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Unpleasant dreams.
Give it up for Cassandra Peterson.